Hello again. The ANC's birthday celebrations have kicked off with the church service in Waihoek. Currently, a register of sorts is being signed by some members of the NEC, as well as others. We touch base with Govan Whittles. He's outside the Dr. Petrus Molemela Stadium in Mangaung in Bloemfontein. And activity is quite buzzing where you are, Govan. But it was the words of Nelson Mandela in 1990 during a rally in Bloemfontein, where he said the ANC is a child of Bloemfontein, the child conceived here in 1912, returns to its mother older, stronger and wiser. The party returns to Mangaung how in 2023?
Well, it returns to Mangaung, some would say, on its knees. Yesterday or the day before, the Deputy President of the ANC, Paul Mashatile, said that the ANC is in decline and it's limping, and they're hoping to bring it back or to rebuild it into a stronger organization. That certainly is the mandate of the newly elected leadership, the one that they believe the conference has given them. And they're an interesting leadership who will today showcase exactly what they hope to achieve within this new term. We're here for the January 8th statement. The hive of activity outside the stadium is to be expected. These are familiar scenes that we're seeing at the moment. But what's different about this year is that the January 8th statement happens under a completely different context. Let's discuss that now with Professor Situlego Matebesi joining us to give us some commentary. Really, Prof, let's begin with the difference. This year, what's different about this January 8th statement?
It is definitely different. It's for the very first time after a very fierce, highly contested elective conference that you've got the ANC at its birthplace. Also very important is that the ANC's Secretary General has made several pronouncements about taking action against ministers who are sleeping on the job, and also referring to the mayor of this particular municipality, where we know infighting and a region which is highly divided. And I think those are the differences that perhaps the ANC will want to work on going forward.
We'll get to this particular area and the relevance of this area on today's event. But first, tell me, what do you believe the leadership of the ANC hopes to demonstrate with today's celebrations?
Yes, very importantly, I think a lot of commentators have perhaps said that physical support of the African National Congress have dwindled. And I think what is happening here, we've already seen the number of ANC members already entering the stadium. And some of the events that preceded this January 8th celebrations is indicative of how vibrant and how some members of the African National Congress still believe in the African National Congress. And I think that is the message that the African National Congress would want to demonstrate, going along with the whole narrative of an organization which is on a renewal path.
The support here does seem to contradict the assertion that the region is divided and the province is divided and its structures are still in the phase of rebuilding. How do you think those dynamics will affect today's event?
Well, one thing that we should know is a national event, and normally what happens, we can see the buses and all that. A lot of members of the African National Congress from all over South Africa have descended here in Bloemfontein. But I also strongly believe that even without the supporters from anywhere else in the country, the people from Botshabelo and Bloemfontein and other parts of Free State would have filled up the stadium, because that also is indicative of those who still believe in a highly divided organization.
Well, thank you so much, Professor Situlego Matebesi, speaking to us just outside the stadium. We're in Rocklands right now. The ANC was formed in the Bato location, not far from here, in 1912. And those divisions the Prof is talking about are likely to feature in the January 8th statement itself. The Secretary General has already said that They plan to unite the ANC. We know that the slim margins from the conference is usually a sign of division. Yesterday at the Peter Mokaba Memorial Lecture, the Secretary General saying that he knows there are people within the ANC who want to form a new party, giving some insight into the machinations behind the scenes among those who were not victorious at the conference. They'll likely address that in the statement, which is due to kick off at around midday. But as you can see, it's really busy here, and it's going to stay that way. We'll give you a view from inside the stadium as soon as possible. But for now, we'll keep engaging with the members of the ANC and then hopefully get better insight into how they're feeling about the party at national level, this new leadership, but also the dynamics at the provincial level and regional level where there has been a lot of divisions. For now, it's back to you.
Govan, before we let you go, yesterday Newzroom Afrika brought the story of some hawkers who were not allowed to trade outside of the stadium. Nomvula Mokanyane came and spoke to them and the situation was sorted out. Do you spot some of those ladies who are selling food on the side of the road?
Yeah, there are a lot of people selling food on the side of the road here, and what's clear is that this time they're not being stopped. Yesterday, Nomvula Mokanyane obviously responding to some of those hawkers who were not allowed to trade, but importantly, Mameloko Kubai, in giving feedback on the Economic Transformation Commission, revealing that the ANC wants to deregulate the rules that govern the informal trade, particularly of people who sell food and also wearables on the side of the road. You can see the number of stalls here. They're really much more than the last January 8th statement. But we also know that this time they've managed to organize a lot more people to come to the stadium and actually exhibit. We understand that the fees that were traditionally charged for people to set up tents here have been dropped in many cases. That's why we've seen a proliferation of informal traders, not only around the stadium or the sites where the president has been visiting, but even outside the Free State provincial headquarters of the ANC in Bloemfontein city centre. It looks like the ANC tried to move very quickly to address what appeared to be them restricting informal trade outside one of their events. But since then, things have smoothed out and the people here are trading freely and without much protest from any of the law enforcement officials or the marshals of the ANC.
Good to note. Thank you very much to Govan Whittles outside the Rantlai Petrus Molemela Stadium, where the celebrations will be kicking off in a couple of hours.